Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today has actually been on the site a couple times before. He's one of the most legendary drummers to ever pick up a pair of sticks. He's here today because he's about to release a new record with his classic band Cactus called Temple of Blues 2, which, like its predecessor, contains a ton of special guests. Here to talk all about it, please welcome Carmine Appice. Welcome back, Carmine.
How are you? Number one, are you Italian?
A little bit, a little bit.
Boy, with that last name, my God, sounds more Italian than me.
Yeah, I don't know if we're that far, but close enough.
Okay, so
Yep.
let's start. What do you
Well,
what do you want to know?
well, first off, who is currently in the actual band lineup of Cactus? The core band.
Yeah, the line of the band is Ed Terry's on vocals, fantastic singer. Artie Dillon on guitar, and James Caputo on bass. And it's a four-piece, just like we've always been, and it kicks ass. It's a great band. And unfortunately, Jim McCarty doesn't tour anymore. He just plays in Detroit, like a 15-minute drive from his house, any direction. I asked him to come to this big show we're doing for the album on the day we're releasing it, April 3rd, from Detroit to Chicago. And he said, no, he didn't want to do it. So we have a lot of people from the album. We're doing it for a charity, for Tunnel of Towers, the Music Cares, Music Will, and St. Jude's Hospital. And we're doing one show with all the money that goes to, you buy a ticket, all the money's going, because we had a donor that gave us enough money to put the show on and pay everybody and do everything. But the actual ticket price, everything goes to the charities, because we've already put money aside from the donor for the charities, but everything else goes to the charities. And
That's awesome.
and you get a free Cactus album when you buy the ticket.
Mm.
So I mean, just to get a CD that's the price of the ticket.
Yeah.
And on that show we have Doug Aldridge, we got Doug Pinnick, we got Billy Sheehan, Tony Franklin, Bumblefoot, Eric Gales, and Pat Travis. I
That's
think that was enough,
fantastic. Yeah.
right?
That's a
But
great lineup.
it's a great lineup. But I wanted Doug Aldridge on the album, but I couldn't get him. You see, I heard he was sick, and I tried to get him, and I couldn't get him.
Mm.
And then I got him afterwards. He said, "I don't know why you didn't get me." I said, "All right, you'll be on the next album."
Yeah.
So, but
Okay.
the way I do it is like the first album did great.
Mhm.
Temple Blues one. It started from the president and the owner of Cleopatra Records saying, "Look, he has some other Cactus records."
Mm.
He said, "You think we can do a record with getting all the people who are influenced by Cactus?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." I did in the 90s, I did Guitar Zeus.
Yep.
I had all these guitar players. I could do that. So while I'm watching, I'm thinking, I'm starting to do that record. I'm seeing like Slash and Foghat and Robin Trout all on the blues charts and Billboard, right? So I said, we should market it as a blues record. So he says, let's call it Temple of Blues.
Mm.
I said, yeah, Influences and Friends. That's a cool title. And the cover, we had everybody on it with a background of a temple. It was a cool concept, and it broke in at number 3 on the Billboard Blues charts. I've been on Billboard charts in 1989, So this was great. So we talked and said, maybe we should do another one. And he agreed. So he said, but this time I make it shorter so I don't have to put it out on a double LP financially. I said, okay. So he said, do 10 tracks and do 1 track extra for the CD. So that's what we did. So I started, the way I do this is once I like figure out, I make a list of people I'd like to do it. And I text them or call them or email them. And then once I get the people who said, okay, yeah, that's okay, then I make another list of the okays. And then I think about what Cactus songs we do, which I only want to do 3, because we did most of them on the last album,
Yep.
most of the good ones. So I said, but what should we do this time? Evil was taken from an album called Howlin' Wolf's Electric album. It was given to me by Jeff Beck. It was given to Jeff by Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
And if you listen to that album, you'll hear Led Zeppelin 1 all over that album. And stuff that Jeff took from it. And I took Evil in the old days. I said, let me listen to that again. So I listened to it and I said, you know what? It's like 7 songs on here that would really be great. Just like we did Evil, we'll make it heavier, we'll do our own version of it, and it'll be great. So that's what I did. And then when it comes out, I hear now there's no blues charts on Billboard anymore. But I said, maybe the Grammys will give me a nomination for blues because it's blues.
Yeah.
It's all blues.
Mhm.
You know, last time they put my blues album, it went on the charts and went the Billboard blues album, #3, and hung around the charts. And they put me in the regular rock album with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. We're not going to do anything with that.
Yeah.
So, and then I started picking the songs, and all the songs were killer,
Mhm.
you know. And then I had to pick out who did what. But the actual recording starts with me, with a click,
Yeah.
and me like doing the riff of whatever the song is, and making the arrangement with my voice, with the drums, you know. So first there's no drums, it's the click in my voice, and then I do a vocal voice, so I know where it is. And then some of the tracks like Mogan, I played bass on it, and then I would put drums on it, you know. So that's how all these songs on the track on the album started like that.
Mm.
One started different. I think the one with Melanie on it started with her voice, and I put the arrangement to her voice.
Mm.
And Richard Fordyx did the guitar and a click on the song he did down to the bottom.
Mm.
But everything else was done with just me and playing bass on a couple of them. And then I'd give it to my guitar player, Artie, you know. And if I had the bass, he'd leave it. If I didn't have the bass, he'd play guitar and bass. And we put the vocal on it with Ed Terry. Now we got a full demo.
Mm.
And then we send it to whatever. So like for instance, Eric Gales and Billy Sheehan, right? Backdoor Man, you know, well-known, but with Eric and Billy playing it was great. But we gave it to Eric first. So he sang it to the bass that Artie did and the rhythm guitar that Artie did and the drums. And then he added his guitars and solos and stuff and his voice. Then he ended it. And then there's part 2, which was the up-tempo. He didn't do it. And I said, why don't you do that? He said, well, I thought that was for the drums. I said, no, man, that's for you to wail. So I sent it back to him. Then he wailed on it. And then we gave it to Billy. Now, Billy is known for playing bass, but sometimes following the guitar in the solo. I didn't know that. So I was really surprised to hear Billy doing that. And I said, wow, this is outrageous. You know, so a lot of times I do this stuff, I get back the demos or whatever, their stems, and it blows my mind. Because I didn't expect that. So it changes as we're doing it. Things change. It's really cool.
Now, when you were picking out the songs, whether it's the songs that Cactus did before or some of the covers, you had the songs, you had the list of artists that said yes. Did you match them up? Or in the case of the Cactus songs, did some of the artists say, I'd really like to play on this particular track?
No, the artist didn't. I gave Dee Snider a couple of tracks to sing, a 3-track to pick, I believe.
Yeah.
He picked Little Red Rooster. Okay, so now that opened up Little Red Rooster to vocals. You know, whether it was my singer or Doug Pinnick or who else sang on that record? I can't even remember.
Yeah.
You know, there's somebody, I know there's another singer, I just can't think of it now. But anyway, you know, and then I would think, well, like Spoonful, right? Spoonful was done by Cream, but this way it's totally different. And the drum pattern was cool. And I thought Bob Daisley would be great bass player on that. And Ted would probably be great on that because he comes from that school. And every time I give him a track, he changes the rhythm a little bit
Mm.
to make it really Ted,
Yeah.
you know? So now I did that together, and I said, no, I think my singer would sing this great.
Mm.
I put it together, and then
Mm.
when I listened to it, I go, yep. And sure enough, Ted changed the guitar, which he played to me and Bob,
Mm.
the bass and drums. And the singing, he's a great singer. He does his own thing.
Yeah.
So that was great the way it came out. The interesting one was the one with Melanie,
Yes.
because we did that a little while ago.
Mm.
That was just Cleopatra said, we have the rights to Melanie's voice from the estate. We have her singing Purple Haze. We'd like to do Cactus and Melanie. I said, well, let me hear it. So when I heard the voice, I said, wow, that scream sounds like Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
You
She
know,
sounds amazing on that
it's
track.
a
That was one I
long way
definitely
from the
wanted to
roller
talk about.
skate
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the way they did it, they sent me the voice, and I said, yeah, we can do that. So my engineer, producer,
Mm.
Pat Regan, took her voice and stretched it out so we can put it on a click.
Mm.
And then I had the voice there, and then I put the drums to it with the breaks and the up tempo and all that stuff.
Mm.
And then I gave it to Artie, you know. When she's done screaming, and then, we left space, like I told him, well, let's leave like 16 bars for a solo. And then we went up tempo. And then we came back down. So we spaced it out with the arrangement according to my drums,
Mm.
And then I gave it to Artie. He put the guitar, and then our bass player was on the road somewhere, so he couldn't do it. So Tony Franklin did it.
Mm.
Tony sit in, he played with us a bunch of times. Last year we did 4 or 5 dates, and he played with us. We went to South America, went to Venezuela before they changed to this horrible,
Mm.
you know, uh, government. And we always had guys with machine guns around us, for security. But we played a beautiful theater that was sold out. And Tony played great. So I got Tony on it, and then Pat mixed it. And we released it before, but on this version, we changed the breakdown in the middle.
Mm.
We gave it to like the radio voice and made it really psychedelic,
Mm.
and then we remastered everything on that track.
Mm.
So it sounds different. It is a little different, and it's on this record.
Mm.
And people love it. And I mean, I still can't believe that's her doing that scream,
Mm. So did she have that vocal? I mean, for those that don't know,
They
Melanie
had it,
Prince,
they
early
had it on a
20s.
vocal with her,
Yeah.
with an acoustic guitar.
Mhm.
And some sort of weird rhythms behind, like congas or something. So she must have done it like acoustically somewhere, maybe in a small venue. And there was a part at the end that go, ooh, ah, I really like that. It made it sound a bit jungly, so I put that in there as well, you know.
Mhm.
But for me, it's great because I basically produced all these things,
Yeah.
with my engineer, and I arranged everything. And, arranging for me that's my thing with
Yeah.
Vanilla Fudge, that's always been my thing.
Mhm.
And I used to sing doo-wops. I know a lot about vocals, and,
Mhm.
I majored in music in high school, so I know chord changes and stuff, just enough to do this stuff and play bass, just enough of that. And, so I'm blown away that I'm producing all these guys, and they respect what I've done, and that's why they're doing this. And they respect the Cactus,
Mhm.
and it's a great feeling. And knowing that at the end, got a great product,
Mhm. Uh, You mentioned how you wanted to get Doug Aldrich, but you couldn't get him, but he's going to be doing the show now. Was there anyone else that you wanted to get that just timing didn't work out, but you're like, okay, the
I
next
wanted
one, yeah,
Ty Tabor.
yep,
I wanted Ty. I wanted. There's a few. I have to look at the list, but there's a few. But Ty hits me right away. There was one more. I did get Steve Morse on this one,
yep.
and that track was
Mm.
great. I got Derek Sherinian playing keyboard. You know, that was bad stuff. That was on the fourth Cactus album.
Mm.
I always loved that song. It had a great groove, and it came from Dwayne Hitchens, my keyboard player with Cactus back then. So I thought of Derek immediately because I know Derek for a long time. He always loves to play on stuff of mine,
Mm.
and I love him to play on it. So we did that, and then we got Steve Morse and Tony Franklin, and then my singer sang it, and I gave it to Joel and Turner. And he said, "Man, this guy sounds great. Why do you want me?" I said, "Because you're Joel and Turner." So he did a great job, and that track is smoking.
Yeah. And you mentioned Tony Franklin, and you and Tony go back a long way. The
Yeah,
Blue Murder stuff. We recently lost John Sykes, also back
yeah,
in 24.
terrible.
Did you ever get to talk to John at all before his death? I mean, I know
Well,
you were.
not like immediately
Yeah.
before. I would guess it was 6 months before,
Mm,
and just by text, I noticed he's disappeared.
mm,
And I've been doing that, calling him and texting. Finally, he answered my text. I said, "Dude, are you okay? Because you
mm,
like disappeared." And we were really close at one
mm,
point, And he said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm good."
mm,
I figured he's good.
mm,
But he talked to one of my roadies, it was weird enough, that was on our tours and got to know him.
mm.
He spoke to him 3 days before he died,
Oh, wow.
you
Mm,
know? And he was telling him how much he appreciated all the stuff he did for us. And
mm,
it was sad. Tony knew about it.
mm,
I didn't know about
yeah,
it. And I said, "Tony, you knew about it. You didn't tell me." He said, "John said, don't tell anybody."
mm,
So he didn't tell him. And John's the kind of guy where he'd just rather live out his life and let cancer do its thing than do all the cancer treatment, lose all his hair, and go through the pain of doing that. So
mm,
I could see that, you
yeah.
know.
And I recently had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago, actually, to photograph Rod Stewart on the latest leg of his One Last Time tour. And of course, Hot Legs is, a feature of the set. Um, you and Rod keep in touch at all? Would you ever think of
Yeah, yeah.
jumping behind and just doing one?
Well, I talked to him about that, and I talked to his brother. He said he can't really do that because everybody's got in-ears,
Yeah.
and they're all dialed into their own mix, and that's why you never see that.
Mhm.
you know. But yeah, I talked to him. Matter of fact, I have a show called Rod the Show.
Mhm.
And I have a guy that looks like Rod,
Mhm.
he sounds like Rod, dresses like Rod. And then also in the show, we got Katra Reicherman that played sax with him for 14 years,
Mhm.
you know. So I don't consider us a tribute act because, like I said, Hot
Yeah.
Legs, Do You Think I'm Sexy, You're in My Heart, Passion, so many songs that I did with Rod, and I made him do I didn't make him do.
Mhm.
We did You Keep Me Hanging On,
Mhm.
that we do on our show.
Mhm.
And that song is always the biggest applause of the show
Yeah.
because it has so much drama,
Mhm.
you know? And so we called it that. And I emailed Rod back and forth and I said, "Dude, I'm doing this show because I get to play the songs that we did
Mhm.
that I never get to play. I mean, you do them all the
Yeah.
time. I never get to play them. I mean, I worked on them. I worked on vocals with him and You're in My Heart. And I was me and him in the studio. I did the background vocals. I did all the background vocals. I wrote Young Turks. I wrote
Mhm.
Sexy, co-wrote, and I was involved in a lot of this stuff. Hot Legs, people thought I wrote it because the drums are so prominent, And I said, so I don't want to call this a tribute. I mean, the agent keeps calling it a tribute. I freaking hate it,
Yeah.
So we want to call it, the name of the show, Celebrating the Music and Legacy of Rod Stewart,
Mhm.
which is a lot more classy than
Yeah.
saying the tribute to Rod,
Mhm.
you know? So I said, "What do you think?" He sends me an email back. He said, "Wow, I'm honored."
Mhm.
I said, well, I emailed back. I said, "I'm honored that you're honored." So that really shows us that he's honored that we're doing it. It's like an endorsement.
Yeah.
So we put together this whole big video at the beginning, which talks about Roz from the beginning, where he was born, and, right after the war, and from Scottish descent, and then he joined Jeff Beck, and then he joined the Faces, and I was on tour with the Faces with Cactus.
Mhm.
When Maggie May was #1, I know what was going on because I was there, you know. And then it shows he had to leave the Faces. His career started taking off. Maggie May was #1, and then he started his own band. It shows a picture of the band that I'm in, and then his band. The shows continued. Then he shows pictures of Rod with Katra,
Mhm.
and then we have starring Rod Caudle tonight as Rod Stewart, you know? And then we're playing Young Turks behind it. We did a gig last year, Rod show with an orchestra.
Mm.
So I had a song of Young Turks with the orchestra. So that's going, it opens up with that. And then we have an English guy talking about it.
Mm.
And then when he's done, he goes, so please welcome Rod the show. And then Young Turks comes up again. And then we're on the stage by then. We pick up Young Turks where it ends and the show starts. And we've got background, runs through the whole thing. We got confetti and we do Hot Legs. Fire comes up from my drums, it's just a real show,
Nice.
And I use a blonde drum set and a gong that looks like the same kid I had when I
Yeah.
was with Rod. And Cactus looks great, and my singer's great. He gets the audience singing all the songs just like it was with Rod. Just like, for me, it's like playing with Rod again.
Yeah.
In 1979, kick-ass Rod show. And I love Rod. He was the best frontman. When I was with him, he was the best frontman, period.
Yep.
Now he's older, I mean, I feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm packing up this stuff, man. My legs and my calves are killing me from doing this stuff, and I feel it playing. I'm not as fast as I used to be. I know he feels it as well. He's got this whole show with the 5 girls.
Yeah.
It's not just Rod Stewart anymore. It's the Rod Stewart Review.
Yeah.
Which is great. I saw it. It's a great show.
Yeah.
But it's not. Our show is what Rod used to be.
Mm.
And he, like I said, he's loving it. So,
and now
I hope one day he comes and sees it,
hopefully
jumps up on stage with us, because I want to, like when he's not playing in Vegas, I want to try and get this thing into Vegas and another hotel,
Mm.
when you can't see Rod the show, I'm crazy. I have all these crazy ideas. And this guy's been doing this show. It used to be called Tonight's the Night.
Yeah.
And he's been doing Rod show, playing Rod for 20 years, doing casinos and this and that. And his brother played drums, and his brother passed away now. So I do the whole show. His brother used to do half, and I do the other half. But when I went in there, I said, are you guys the band or are you guys the backup band? Because they're all wearing black and they're standing in the back, and the guitar player had a bald head and went around with no hair here. It made it look old. I said, dude, you should wear a freaking hat like what's his name in Mean Street, Robert De Niro, Mean Street. Wear some colorful outfits. Same with everybody, So when we played the next gig, the agent came and said, who's the new guitar player? The same guy, so I changed the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I went up and jammed with him one time, the first time. When I got off the stage, he's singing, Rob said, we should be partners. I said, let's go, I'm ready. Because I had a Rod experience years ago, 14 years ago. I went to China with it. I went all over the States with it. I couldn't find anyone to book it. That wasn't happening yet.
Yeah.
Tributes weren't happening yet, so. But now it's happening. And so I do Cactus. I do these albums, and then we do Cactus. So now we're calling the show, we're doing Cactus All-Stars. And we're going to do other gigs as the Cactus All-Stars.
Yeah.
With maybe Billy Sheehan, Bumblefoot, and Pat Travis.
Oh, nice.
And the regular band.
Yeah.
We'll play theaters. That's going to be like later on, maybe July. So it's great. So I'm having a good time.
It's all that
At my
matters.
age.
Yeah. We
I
definitely
mean, Rod's 82 now. I'm living in my 80th year. So he's 80, living in his 83rd year.
Yeah.
A few years older than me. But, it's like, I remember my father saying, yeah, my brain just feels 17, but my body, I totally get it.
It hit you all of a
But
sudden.
I'm still rocking. I'm still kicking ass. And
All that matters, my friend.
and we do Vanilla Fudge too. So, so
Well,
I just
we've been spending some time here with Carmine Appice. The band is Cactus. The record is called Temple of Blues 2. It's out everywhere April 3rd. It has a ton of guests. It's a great listen. And Carmine, thank you so much for taking time to do this. I always love getting to chat with you. Look forward to catching you on the road.
Okay, we'll be there. Where do you live? Where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh,
Yep.
we used to live in Fairfield.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the times I talked to you, you were down there. We weren't too far away
Yeah,
from each
yeah.
other at the time.
Yeah, I think we're talking about
Yeah.
doing some shows like upstate New York, and then
Yeah.
maybe trying to go to the Richford Theater or something with the Rod Show.
Oh, perfect. Look forward to it.
Yeah, so okay, you
Th-
go to my website, CarmineAppice.com, you can see all the shows.
Yep. Will
Okay,
do. We look forward
okay,
to
man.
catching you.
Ciao. Okay,
Thanks,
see ya.
Carmen.
Okay, bye.